In today's video, we're going to talk all about how to easily recruit volunteers for your PTO or PTA so that you can have a full slate of leaders to do all of the business for your group and manage everything, get everything in line so that your group can run efficiently and functionally and really be effective in your school. A common problem for a lot of groups is that they just are having difficulty finding leaders to step up into the roles. Maybe you have volunteers who have been in their roles for quite some time and they would really like to be transitioning out of those roles, maybe into a different role, because you can really only stay in a particular role for so long. I personally find that like after 2 years in a row, in a particular row, I am ready for a break and I need to move on to something different. It's kind of like if you are exercising and day after day, you're just choosing to do arms. Like, girl, you need to mix that up and get the legs involved, get the abs involved so that all of your body can be healthy and fit, right? The same thing applies to leadership roles in PTAs or PTOs because it's important to exercise all the different areas of yourself, because I know like I have had every single role in a PTA except for treasurer because your girl can't do math. It's really difficult for me. I don't know why. I just have embraced it and my group knows, do not ask Christina to do much math related anything because usually it is wrong and they need to redo it and they love me anyway and nobody's kicked me out. So just saying, I have other skills, and so that's how I choose to serve. One of the keys to recruiting volunteers and leaders specifically for your PTA or PTA is really to start early. Like you cannot be waiting until April or even May if your school is over in June. Like you can't be waiting until the end of the year. You really need to start the process earlier. Now, if you watch my video about how to organize a school talent show and where you have to like prime the pump and get people interested and like start early, start the messaging early, letting people know that it's coming up so they can like kind of gain confidence and think about themselves performing in the talent show. The same thing applies for leadership positions because some people might not think that they can do it. What I am finding is a lot of people doubt themselves, especially women. Like we just don't think we can do it because maybe we've never been called to this kind of service before. And so we don't think we have the skills. I believe that everybody can serve as an effective volunteer and a leader too. Like I think if you really want it, like maybe you can't be treasurer because maybe you can't add like me, or maybe you have like math problems like me. But I think any other role, I totally think you can do it. So you need to start the process of recruiting volunteers early or recruiting leaders early. I would even say at the beginning of the school year, like you always want to be putting it out there. And you're not going to be saying, hey, Candace, I totally think you should be president in September when Candace is brand new to your group. That is the wrong way to do it. You have to think about how you would want to be approached and like what would give you the confidence to do it. So if you think Candace is a good candidate or could be a good candidate, and really at the start of the year, you want to consider everybody. That's another reason why you want to cast your net so wide for membership and get as many people involved as possible, because then you will have a greater pool of people to choose from and to not only choose from, but really to have available to promote up into a leadership position. If you only are running your PTO or PTA on like a shoestring volunteer budget or a leader budget when there's only 5 of you, well, that's not like you can get stuff done as a 5-member group, but it'll be hard and you're going to get burnt out and you're going to feel like everything is a battle and a struggle. And who wants to feel like that? So if you can, get more people involved earlier, then that is going to help your recruiting pool of possibilities. So the next thing is you're going to want to look beyond the regulars. Like you cannot just be having the same old people be involved. And I've heard people say, well, Christina, that's the only people who show up. Well, that's the only people who show up like kind of willingly on their own, who have the confidence, who believe that they can do it. There's a whole nother subset of parents out there who are kind of putting up roadblocks because they don't know everybody or they don't know people well enough, or they feel it's cliquish, or they just don't think they can do it, or they don't think they have the time. But you really have to sell to them the idea, like, if not you, then who? Like, this is not going to get done unless, we need some help. So if you like the talent show, if you like the carnival, if you like the Junior Wall of Fame, if you like being able to give scholarships to the graduating seniors, then this is what it's going to take. You really want to draw upon the relationships that you've been building throughout the school year. And this is where you're like, in a lot of videos where I talk about recruiting either volunteers or leaders or whatever, just it's good interpersonal relationship building advice to be talking to people all the time, especially when you don't need anything. It's a good way to be in life, really, because you never know when you are going to need something. And so it's good to have those relationships. And also it makes us better people. So it's not like it's manipulating people just in case you need something, but it's putting that out there and broadening your net and broadening your horizons of who you know and how the gifts that they can bestow upon you in that relationship as well, but also what you can bestow on them too. The next way to recruit leaders easily for your group is to be clear about what is involved in the role and also be honest. Like, there should be absolutely be no hoodwinking. Like, if you should tell people what is involved, and if you feel like, oh my God, if they tell them everything that's involved, they're going to hightail it to Iowa or beyond, then that is a sign that you need to redefine that role. And maybe you need to break it up. And maybe if, your group needs to flex with the realities of your group. Like, you cannot do all the things if you're down to 2 people. Like, that's just not going to happen. So you're going to need to scale back. And the answer cannot be for those 2 people to be like in the school at all times, killing it. Like, I've seen that here locally with some elementary parents who were like super gung ho and they were there all the time. And I was like, woman, who is going to want to follow you? They're going to look at your example and see all that you're doing and think, there's no way in heck I can do that. So you're killing it in the moment, but you're killing your group going forward. So you really want to be careful about the expectations that you're unwittingly setting by being so awesome. And I know that it's hard for you to rein in your awesomeness, but you're going to have to try. So think about that when you are planning things out. Think if it is sustainable. Okay, before I go on with my next couple points about how to easily be recruiting those leaders for your PTO or PTA, I want to hear from you. Why did you get involved in your PTA or PTO? Did you just come to a meeting and then go, yeah, sure, I'll sign up to do that? Sure, no problem. Were you that kind of a person? Which you might be. I totally was. I had to get talked into my first position a little bit. Thank you, Rhonda. But for the most part, I've just been willing after that. But some people, it might be something different. And so I'm really curious to hear about what happened to get you involved, because that is also the answer to that is a powerful signal to yourself, because that might be what it takes for other people. So you kind of have to play to your audience and figure out what they need, meet their needs so that they can meet your needs, right? You're getting on the same page, essentially. The next way that is really going to make your life so much easier in recruiting volunteers to become leaders in your group is to have a transition plan in place. If you were explaining to them, it is not going to be that you sign up for this and that you go. Or that I go and that I ghost you and that you have no support whatsoever. If the situation is going to be that you're going to give them a binder and you're going to have a meeting and you're going to go over the stuff so that they can have any of their questions answered, and that you're going to be available to them, or that whoever the officer is going to be available to them, then that is a much easier sell for a brand new leader to come in knowing that they're going to have some support. So you might be thinking, Christina, I don't have any, we don't have binders. So girl, you need to get some binders, because people deal. I know I had one person who was like, who buys your digital binder kits? Because, by the way, I have all the binder kits available in my shop. They're like, who uses that anyway? Well, woman, a lot of people. And it is a lot easier if you are new to a role, totally unfamiliar with something. It is a lot easier to have something in your hands. I have nothing to grab, so I'll just grab my clip clipboard. It is a lot easier to have something in your hands if you're brand new and totally like unaware of what is going on in a group to actually see what you're doing. So that's why you need to do it for yourself. You need to put together a binder for people going forward. If you do not know what to put in a binder, I have blog posts about that. So you can head over to ptoanswers.com and search for binder and watch what pops up and read all those articles. There are several posts that go through exactly what you need for different positions too. And if you still would just like a done for you option, then like I said, the binder kits are available on my website as well. They are tailored to specific positions because every position in a PTO has different needs, has different templates, has different forms that they need, different information that you need to track. So instead of having to figure it out for your own, I've done the work for you. So be sure to check those kits out. They're all called success kits. All of the success kits have multiple resources in them, including a binder or a planner, so that you have, like I said, the information so that you can use it throughout the year, but then also you can turn it over to the next person who's coming in, and it's going to make their life so much easier. And you're going to feel good. Like I know I spend at the end of the year before I transition out of a role, I spend a lot of time going through and thinking about what is Crystal, for example, I'll just use my friend Crystal. What is Crystal going to need when she's president? Or what is she going to need when she's in charge of fundraising? And so I go through and make sure all of that information is in the binder. And then I give it to her in advance of our transition meeting. And then, so we have time to she has time to go through everything and come up with questions so that she's just not sitting there going on the spot going, oh, what questions do I have? Well, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing in the first place. So how can you come up with questions? Anyway, you get the idea. So I think if you are giving new leaders resources, like physical resources, and making yourself available, then that is a much easier sell to have them come on board. And so if you follow all of this advice, I just find your recruitment process is going to be so much different than it has been in the past, or it could have been if you don't follow this advice, because this is the same pattern that I use when I'm in charge of recruiting new leaders. And that's in my PTA, that's always the membership chair is the head of the nominating committee. So I hope this video has been super helpful and that it eases the recruiting process for you so that you can build a stronger PTO for the next upcoming year. I so hope that you have enjoyed this video and you will join me for the next one. Want even more guidance on how to be a stronger leader so you can run a better PTO or PTA? All of these resources and more are waiting for you at ptoanswers.com.